morning, everyone. Welcome to Moving the Chains here on Team NBS Media. My name is Ashmere. I hope you all had a lovely holiday weekend filled with a lot of football. So today we're going to talk about some of the games of the past and obviously the games to come. Joe and I are back here with Jeff. Woo!
Hey, look who it is.
Happy to make it through on this Thanksgiving weekend.
That's what we're thankful for.
There you go.
How are you? What's new?
Just trying to keep up with the ever wave of chasing people down, you know? That's how it goes when you're in the player acquisition business. It's all about chasing people down, chasing info, chasing something. You're always Wile E. Coyote, you're never the Roadrunner.
I mean, you just love that game.
I was, as Bane said, I was molded by it, born running, raised in it.
There you go.
You just can't leave it. All right. We're going to first, I have to ask how you felt about the Cowboys win. I have to ask. I mean, that we were all, I think the entire United States was watching that game in the afternoon and thinking, I am repping the boys. And a lot of people do not like to do that. So I'll start with you, Jeff. How did you feel about that game?
Relieved. And I'm relieved not because it saved the Cowboys season and all of that jazz. I'm relieved because as a guy that was in the media with you guys just a short few months ago, the common narrative after a Cowboys loss is Dak Prescott this, Dak Prescott that, Dak. You can't say that when you watch this team now. It is more than about Dak Prescott. He is one of the main cogs, yes. He is the leader, yes. He's done a lot for this team, yes. But you talk about George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, that combination that has flourished the last 4 or 5 weeks together. When you talk about this team, you're talking about a resurgent defense the last 3 weeks since all these acquisitions were made. The Quinnen Williams trade, Logan Wilson, he grows more and more, and this system is going to be more and more of a vital cog in this defense. The return of Demarion Overshown, finally getting Siobhan Rebel on the field, one of their top draft picks from last year, who's coming off a knee injury out of East Carolina. You're starting to see this young corner develop, and they still haven't gotten a healthy Trayvon Diggs back. You've seen Deron Bland starting to come back to form. So there are a lot of pieces of this defense finally coming together that weren't there earlier in the year when this defense looked like absolute basura, as the Hispanics would say. Okay, so, it was looking very bad for Cowboy fans for 4 weeks. You finally have some light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a tunnel to look down.
Yeah, this kind of sounds like the Bears defense slowly getting their pieces back together, putting the Eagles on watch. So I think the East is looking a little bit better. I mean, when you looked at the standings and you're thinking Philly has no reason to sweat, but in comes the new healthy Bears defense, just like Jeff is saying. So yeah, I feel like the games this week were very exciting. I'm going to let Joe take it for the Eagles game. What were your thoughts after seeing the Bears defense basically stop any type of offensive work for Philly?
I think that I came with 2 things. That one, the Ben Johnson era is officially here. I mean, this is a totally different Chicago Bears team compared to what it was under Matt Eberflus. You can see the energy on the sidelines, the halftime adjustments that were made, just to play Caleb Williams. I mean, this is the reason why you pick somebody to be number 1, and just smart play calling. You're gashing the Eagles versus the run. Why are we going to have our quarterback drop back and throw the ball 35, 40 times? Keep on pounding the rock. It was somewhere up there. Walter Payton, Gale Sayers probably smiling, watching the Bears just run through and around the Eagles for 4 quarters. So I think if you're a Bears fan, you got to be really, really excited about the prospects for the future of this season. A really, really good running game. We all know 2 things that travel well in the NFL: defense and a run game. The Bears seem to have both of those. It's a really, really good time to be a Chicago Bears fan. I think if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, got to take a look in the mirror. What adjustments can be made? I mean, there's obviously fighting between players and coaches. They're going to clean some things up. What the Eagles need now more than anything probably is a really good, solid win. But my takeaway was Chicago Bears are for real and not just a feel-good story.
Yeah, and you know what? When A.J. Brown complains, he gets what he wants, and that's 2 touchdowns. I feel like that was also noteworthy because
was a good deal.
He'd been talking, and he was like, just throw me the ball. I swear, Devontae Smith dropped the ball.
But since he's been talking, getting the ball, they've been losing. Was it better when he wasn't getting the ball? Because they were winning when he wasn't getting the ball. So that's a question we have to really ask ourselves.
And I was going to ask you that. Was it better or worse, in your opinion?
To me, whenever you start forcing somebody the ball, and this is me talking as a former coordinator, when you start forcing one person the ball, you usually lose your identity on offense because that's not what made you successful. Right now, if you were struggling and you couldn't get your stars the ball, that's one thing. But when you're winning, and you're winning by however you got to do it, whether it's by running the ball, being conservative, doing whatever you're doing, and you're winning games, and this one player says, I have to have the ball, and you start forcing the ball that way and things start going awry, usually that's a bad idea, okay? Sometimes you got to let the guy chirp. You know, one of the reasons why I have a ring on my finger is one of my star receivers said, I need the ball more. And I said, well, we don't do that. We utilize everybody in this offense. We have a league-leading rusher. We have tight ends that can catch the ball. We have other receivers that catch the ball. Okay? Everybody eats in my offense. And he didn't like it. You know what? We got a ring without him. All right? So sometimes you got to tell that number one, know your role. And they didn't do that. Philadelphia said, okay, we're going to force you the ball. Last two games, he's had great numbers, both losses.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people realizing what they can stop against that Eagles. Like, we all saw the tush push that failed.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes,
I think the
sometimes you
adjustments
look
are
at
coming.
somebody and stop everybody else. That one guy can't beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm the Eagles, we got to figure out a way to get Saquon involved. I mean, if there's somebody I'm going to quote unquote force the ball to, it's him. I know people are taking this narrative and running with it, and they have the stats to back it up about he's fallen off a cliff compared to last season. He's washed. Nobody can have that kind of load he had. I think the offensive line's not doing the same job it did last year, personally. I think if the lanes are there, you've seen those little bursts he's had and plays here or there, shows me he still has the skills to get the job done. I think if I'm Nick Sirianni, I got to figure out a way to get Saquon the ball, whether it's screen passes, let's open up some running lanes, and then the passing game will open up. And then that defense, remember, the last image I had of the Eagles defense was making my guy, Patrick Mahomes, run for his life left and right. That was not the case. DeAndre Swift had those guys grabbing at air, diving at his ankles. Caleb Williams had him doing the same thing. What's happened to the Eagles defense as well needs to be answered.
Yeah, it was definitely a chase game for the Eagles, as in they're chasing everybody.
Yep, for sure.
One of the most underrated things that we have not talked about a lot is the retirement of Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce meant a lot to the interior of that offensive line. One of the biggest struggles in their running game is the interior of that offensive line with Cam Jurgens now in the middle. Cam Jurgens, I said, is a very good offensive lineman, better guard than center, and it's showing right now. He's a solid center. We can all see that. He's smart enough to make all the calls. But when it comes to moving bodies out the middle in tandem, Jason Kelce was a better center than Cam Jurgens. And I think that's part of where you look at their struggles running the football. It comes in between the tackles, right? And it starts from the center. The center has to get initial movement on that one technique, and it allows you to get movement on the three technique, right? So when you're trying to run inside, that guy is the leader of the charge. And when you're not getting that push inside, when you're getting stalemated constantly up the middle, it leads to negative losses and no gains. And that's what you're seeing with Saquon's struggles inside. They're not getting the movement inside the tackles they've been getting the previous years. The missing piece, Jason Kelce.
You can see it in this game, too, against the Bears specifically. It was so crowded, right? Like, there was just no way Saquon could figure out how to get through any
You're not going to run between the tackles. Absolutely.
Yeah. You could definitely see it in this Bears game. And I think the Bears defense, like you were saying for the Cowboys, we're in week 13. They're slowly getting corners back. Like, there's just people that are adding to that pressure, and you could really see it. All right. Now let's talk about the games to come. We've got Shedeur Sanders facing off the 49ers in the snow, and it is snowing, okay? It's like, so, I mean, I don't know. I was this close to going to this game. Isn't that crazy? Like, not for my own joy, because I'm not but I was going to take my partner, and I was like, oh, we should go. And then I saw the snow, and I was like, thank God I wouldn't have made it. I would have been like, you go. I'm sitting in the hotel by myself. All right, Jeff, since you're here first, I'd love to hear, even though it wasn't that difficult of a feat against the Raiders. Love to hear what you thought of Shedeur's outing in Vegas last week.
Well, I was surprised. I was talking with a colleague at the day before. I was at the Classic FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, and we're talking about Shedeur. Is he going to be able to beat the Raiders? I said, yes, he'll beat the Raiders. What's his stat line going to be like? And I'm thinking in the area of 130 to 150 passing, a touchdown, an interception, and he blew all that away. And the reason being is Kevin Stefanski finally let Shedeur Sanders be Shedeur Sanders. One of the problems that I've had with Kevin Stefanski with Shedeur Sanders' development, whether it was the preseason, whether it was when he came into the game late the week before, he's always a drive the bus kind of quarterback coach. Okay, throw the quick throws on time, stay on schedule, don't go doing too many risky, don't go making too many risky plays. Just drive the bus. That is not Shedeur Sanders. That's not what got Shedeur Sanders to the NFL. And when you have a quarterback like that, yes, you want him to manage the game at times, but you never want to take away what makes him special. He didn't do that versus the Raiders. He let him be himself, and the results are what they are. He went out there and had a great game. He did have the one interception, but overall, he moved the offense consistently. They put up 20-plus points for the first time in I don't know how long, and they won the game.
I feel like the energy behind Shedeur is also something that really existed. The defense was absolutely insane. And for him to be the first rookie to win his start for the Browns since 95, it's like you guys didn't want Shedeur to be winning, and he literally is the answer. And now you got to be happy about it. Like the way that, sure, we're playing the Raiders. We all don't need to discredit that is the team. But coming off of a win like that and now facing a 49ers team that needs this win in order to maintain a position in the playoffs, I feel like that gives you the momentum and you're at home. So what about you, Joe? What were your thoughts?
I think he did what he needed to do. He let the game come to him, didn't force too many things. I mean, that one interception was pretty bad, but anybody could throw that, ask Joe Flacco. So I think for him, knowing that it's your position now and you're actually getting an honest opportunity to be the legit starter is great. And I'll see it as twofold. It's the Cleveland Browns. We know that there's one thing they can do is screw a good thing up. Let's say they do screw this up. I would look at it as Shedeur Sanders is getting all this tape for other quarterback-hungry NFL teams to look at and go, okay, I've seen enough in our system, with our roster and our talent and our coaching, we can get this guy to another level. So if Cleveland decides, hey, it was a great fun story, it put butts in the seats, social media is buzzing, but it's not what we're looking for, then somebody else in the league is going to say he's exactly what we're looking for. And I think also, as a guy who lives in Colorado right now and him playing a season in Colorado, this weather should not bother him at all today. I think he'll excel actually in it. And having a great defense like he does, again, you don't have to force it. Let the offense and the plays come to you. I think he's set up for success. And maybe Kevin Stefanski hit his head this week and decided, hey, you know what? This kid's what I've been looking for. Let me help him succeed instead of being a roadblock.
Oh, I mean, I guess Joe's like, let's get Shedeur out of Cleveland, baby. Let's get him somewhere else and play.
I mean, if you don't want him, there's a lot of teams in the NFL that need quarterbacks.
Could be the Raiders. Just saying.
Never know.
Yeah, no, I think that was a good point. He's already from the snow, and we expect this game to look like Browns favored. So the 49ers have figured it out. I feel like game in and game out, they've just figured out how to be within their division, very difficult, and win. Last week's win was against Carolina. The defense showed up. So what are you expecting the 49ers to do in this matchup against a defense that sacked Geno Smith 10 times? Jeff?
Oh, it starts with running the football. One way you don't get sacked, you run the football. You have one of the best running backs in football. You have good running backs behind them. You have one of the better offensive lines when it comes to zone blocking and running the football. Let Christian McCaffrey eat. You're going to throw him the ball. Yes, you're going to do all that stuff to get the ball out of his hands. You're going to find ways. You're going to trust one-on-ones with Trent Williams versus Myles Garrett. But when he goes to the opposite side, you're going to help out over there. Okay, so they're going to have a plan for Myles Garrett, but the main thing is going to be throwing the ball on time. Brock Purdy, don't hold it. Don't give this guy a chance to get to you. We'll have a plan to protect you. But it starts with one, running the football, getting in the third and short as opposed to having 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 where the Browns excel. Getting them into situations where it's easy to move the chains, and notice the name drop, moving the chains, right? It's easy to move the chains all right, and when you're in 3rd and short, than it is constantly having to fear Myles Garrett on 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 10.
Yeah, I think we've talked about running backs being utilized in their proper way. I feel like last week, it's only been the CMC game. So I'll just ask Joe, what are your thoughts as well for the 49ers? Do you think they come through in this snowy matchup? Because Brock Purdy doesn't have the best stats in the snowy weather.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's been up and down, inconsistent, even before the injury. So I think if you're the 49ers, like Jeff said, you got to rely on Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's been your offense anyway. I say you rely on him. This is a 20, 25, maybe even 30 carry type of game. Maybe you do sprinkle in the play action pass. You have a great tight end in George Kittle, who since he came back from his injury has been playing really well. I think for the 49ers, though, if the run game is stopped by Cleveland, it could be a long day. I don't trust Brock Purdy dropping back 30, 35 times. And in this weather, you don't want him doing that anyway. So I think it's kind of a sticky situation for the 49ers because you're going up against a really, really good top 10 defense in the Cleveland Browns, and you also have a shaky quarterback. So if your running game is not going well, what do you do if you're Kyle Shanahan? Do you hope that Brock Purdy can shake off the rust and have a good performance? But again, when you got guys like Ward, Myles Garrett, who's always attacking and getting ready to eat, if the run game is not successful for San Francisco, it could be a really long day for the Niners, for sure.
Yeah, I think the last game the Niners played in the snow against the Bills, that was it was tough to watch in the beginning, and then, they relied back on running the ball. So I feel like this will be exciting solely based off of the weather, and then we'll see who you guys pick in the rapid fire picks. All right, next we're going to talk about the Texans and Colts. So Colts are coming off of a bad loss to the Chiefs. I mean, you're winning that entire game, and you let them come back, go to overtime, just make Patrick Mahomes feel like his good old self again, and end up losing that game. So we'll start there. Where do you think the Colts went wrong? And I feel like I know your answer, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Where do you think the Colts went wrong in that loss, Jeff?
It starts with getting a little too comfortable managing a lead. Sometimes when you have a team down, you got to put your foot down on their neck and squeeze down. They didn't do that, right? They went out there, they got the lead late in the 4th, and they tried to manage it. And one of the things you don't do against a guy who's comfortable coming back is try to manage a lead. You go out there, you put your foot in the throat, and you squeeze it down. You have the running game to run out the clock, but you know what? They're going to anticipate that. That's where you need your quarterback to make those crucial throws. So it comes back to the point where you are aggressive early in the game. You kind of laid back a little late in the game. Stay aggressive. Continue to go after the Chiefs defense like you were earlier in the game, and try to finish them off. You do not take those chances. We saw the same thing with certain other coaches. We saw with the Giants. The Giants had a chance to finish off the Lions by kicking the field goal and going up 6 and force them to drive the field for a touchdown. They tried to go out there. They got a little too aggressive instead of being smart. Didn't get the 4th down conversion. They go into overtime. Loss is what it is. So this is the exact opposite of that. They didn't have a chance in the final seconds to finish them, but they had plenty of opportunities in that 4th quarter to expand that lead and keep grinding it where you had to make Mahomes be perfect the rest of the way. They didn't do that. As a result, they ended up with a loss in overtime. So if you're going to win this game against a Houston team that's hot right now, right? Remember, they're coming back, right? Davis Mills drove the bus. We always talk about quarterbacks driving the bus. Davis Mills drove the bus, got them some wins. Stroud is back. He's hungry to get those wins again because they were struggling when he was out there early in the season. He was taking a beating. They seem to be right in the ship defensively. This is a team you better be able to run the football against and protect your quarterback if you're going to go out there and beat it. This team can hurt your quarterback if you're not careful, because this defense right now in Houston is playing lights out, especially up front. Will Anderson and those guys are hunting.
So I know this is a crazy question, but I have to ask it. When you have Davis Mills coming off 3 major wins, CJ's recovered from concussion, do you feel certain that you want to go back? I know he's a starting quarterback. I know it's a crazy ask, but I'm just curious, since the Texans were in this lull that we all noticed and recognized from a team that 2 seasons ago we were praising every moment that they did. So that's my question, Joe. Do you feel certain that you want CJ starting the game when you've got Davis Mills like that?
Absolutely, I'm sure. CJ Stroud, like you talked about, definitely had a rough start to the season, but you picked him as high as you did for a reason. Remember all the good moments he's had. Your team has gotten it better on the defensive side. Offensive line's playing a little bit better since his injury. So you absolutely, hell yeah, put him back in there and give him an opportunity to play. I think on the flip side, the bigger thing to kind of piggyback onto the Colts is, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the videos they've been showing of practice of Daniel Jones, he is dragging that leg. And if there's one team I don't want a quarterback that has a broken or fractured fibula playing against, it's the Houston Texans. With Will Anderson, the rest of those guys up front, Hunter, those guys are ferocious as a pass rush. Singletary and the rest of Stingley and the rest of those guys in the secondary are really, really good as well. I think from the Colts, this is a heavy Jonathan Taylor game, and you really do legit have to pray that Daniel Jones gets out of here injury-free, because it looked bad. I mean, he was dropping back in passes, dragging his leg, not even able to plant off that leg to make the kind of throws you expect him to make. Jeff played football a lot more longer and recently than I have. Maybe cortisone shots have improved since my day playing football. I just think if I'm a Colts fan, I'm really, really nervous about today's game.
Yeah, it's funny. We're talking about two back-to-back, I would say, like top three defenses, right? We were talking about the Browns. Now we're talking about what the Texans have turned around and done. So I'll let you follow up, Jeff, on how you think CJ Stroud can be successful in seeing that his backup QB takes that success.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the reasons why you're putting CJ Stroud back in there is because there's definitely a talent gap, right? Davis Mills is here, CJ Stroud is here. All right. You're at the point where your quarterback is healthy. Your offense has been performing. Now, Davis Mills did a great job of managing the game, driving the bus, but he didn't exactly light it up. He played within the system. Stroud can do that when healthy. But when you need somebody to take it up another notch, Davis Mills can't, CJ Stroud can't. So that's why they're going back to CJ Stroud. If Davis Mills was throwing 3 TDs a game, they'd have a debate about it. This was no debate about it. He was just managing the game. He was doing what he's paid to do. There was never a quarterback competition. I know people love that when a guy wins. He wasn't doing that much to go out there and make it an open competition. But you're going to put CJ Stroud out there because, one, he's going to give you the escapability that Davis Mills doesn't have. Davis Mills can avoid pressure, but he's not going to be able to do a lot of dynamic things off of that. CJ Stroud is going to be able to avoid pressure, run for yards, but also run and make big throws off the run. So there's going to be things that he brings to the table that you need. One of the things you didn't see when Davis Mills was in there was you didn't see their tight end all of a sudden being this X factor in the offense anymore, right? He is an X factor when CJ Stroud is out there. Why? Because he's able to find time, allow him to work the zone coverages and find the openings. So that's the difference that CJ Stroud brings to this offense. When you talk about quarterbacks that bring more to an offense because of their skills, CJ Stroud does that. Davis Mills doesn't. It was a no-brainer. Once he's healthy, he was coming back. And that's exactly why he's out there today. If he goes out there and plays a clean game versus Indianapolis, and that Houston defense plays the way they've been playing for the past 4 weeks, guess what? They're walking out of Indy with a win.
Yeah, I think this is a Daniel Jones lookout game, just like Joe said. If he gets hit more than twice, it's going to be a bad hit, and he might not return to the field. So I think this Colts team is going to rely on Jonathan Taylor, who we were giving MVP flowers how many weeks ago, Joe and I. So I think obviously that's the best look in this matchup. And the Texans defense they're just so successful. Like, what do you think their success is coming from, Joe?
Oh, it's the pass rush. You have no time to run your offense the way you want to run it at all. If you want to have a running game, they're doing a really, really good job of stopping the run, especially runs to the outside, to the edges. And then when it comes to your passing game, you got Will Anderson, you got Hunter. There's so many different guys, and you're getting pressure from the middle in the quarterback's face, which no quarterback likes at all. So I think that their pass rush just makes it really hard for you to run your offense the way you want to. If you can slow down the pass rush and get a chance to actually run the plays you want to run, different story, but that's easier said than done. So I think that the pass rush just makes things a lot easier for their linebackers, for their secondary, and as the pass rush has improved, so has the team.
Yeah, and it feels like for the Colts offense, there's only one guy you're going to, and it's Michael Pittman. So, or the tight end. I'm blanking on
Yeah,
his name.
Tyler Warren's good.
Tyler Warren, yeah. So,
And you also have Pierce over the top, who's a very underrated receiver when it comes to vertical. So you have options there. The problem is, can you protect your quarterback versus Houston? But you mentioned it earlier, right? You have an injured quarterback in Indy right now. Daniel Jones is injured. Okay, he's going to try and play through the injury. And cortisone shots don't exactly help with broken legs. They
Didn't think so.
Edge off. But when you're planting on an unstable leg, you feel it. And you're going to play through that pain. Now, when you got bodies hitting you, as opposed to when you're the hitter, guess what? You're going to feel it even more. And the question will be, if Daniel Jones has to leave this game, can Anthony Richardson come in and provide the same quality level of play that he had?
God.
So that's the question that's going to happen. If it comes down to the point where you have an injured quarterback coming into this game, can the backup come in and provide the same level of play or higher? And right now, that is a big question because they didn't have faith in Anthony Richardson, which is why Daniel Jones is the starter.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. When you said that, I shuddered a little. I was like, "Whoa! I hope we don't get there." Like
at the same time, though, too, for the Colts, I gotta say, you gotta ask yourself, like, at what point do we win one of these true test games? Because that was the knock on them at the beginning of the season, right? Their record's good, but they haven't played anybody. You play against the Steelers, you play against the Chiefs, you lose. Now you're playing against a hot Texans team. At some point, you got to beat one of these harder opponents to show yourself and everybody else that, hey, we are the real deal. Because of their early hot start, I don't think playoffs missing is a possibility. But at the same time, a signature win would go a long way for their confidence.
Yeah, I totally agree. We've been talking about the Colts almost half of this season, and it's been because they're beating teams by the way that Jonathan Taylor has performed. Really, that's who we're giving flowers to week in and week out. I think this will be a good game to keep your eye on. All right, everyone, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about our last game, and of course, do our rapid fire picks.
In 2006, we founded Yeti Coolers with a simple mission: build the cooler we use every day if it existed. One that was built for the serious outdoor enthusiasts rather than for mass discount retailers. One that could take the abuse we knew we'd put it through, out in the field and on the water. One that simply wouldn't break. We decided early on that production innovation would come from necessity and first-hand experience, not from market research and data analysis. Today, Yeti products perform when it matters most. Whether that be an excursion into the remote Alaskan wilderness, chasing redfish on the Gold Coast, or just getting together with friends in the backyard, we make gear that helps you stay out longer, travel farther, and live harder.
The time is almost here. Our picks for the week coming next on Moving the Chains.
You are watching Team NBS Media. We are a digital media brand covering sports, entertainment, and lifestyle, with team members all across the country. Through our written content, podcasts, and video content, we bring you fresh and professional content. Interested in joining the team? Shoot us an email or DM. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Moving the Chains. We just obviously needed a quick water break when we're spitting so much game. And now we're going to talk about our last matchup, which is the Bills and the Steelers. And my first question is, of course, what is going on with the Bills? Like, where can we think this is going to be a victory against a Steelers defense? Also turning the corner a little bit. So let's just start with that. What is wrong with the Bills, Jeff?
Well, it starts with your biggest playmaker at wide receiver not being in pads, and that is Keon Coleman having the disciplinary issues that have had him street closed the past several games. You have to have, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you have to have that over-the-top threat on the outside. We know how good the tight ends are. We know how good Shakir is and a lot of the receivers they have. We know how good, a lot of the players they have are. But the problem is, what have they missed since they lost to Gabe Davis the first time? Was an over-the-top receiver. They got it in Keon Coleman. He allows Josh Allen to just throw up a ball and he'll make a play. But when he's missing meetings and doing all those things in the back end of in the locker room in the facility that are getting him taken off the field, that is a problem. And it's shown up in the last two games because people now have been able to key on this running game. They're able to spy Josh Allen without the fear of somebody making plays on the outside. They've taken away Shakir by bracketing him. So when he tries to get those two-way goals in the slot, they have people on both sides of him. So he's making catches, but he's not making the dynamic ones anymore because you don't have that guy over the top that backs the corners off, that backs the safeties off, that's making them play honest and allowing you to work the space underneath. That has been the biggest problem with this team right now. Josh Allen has to be Superman on every down, when he's not handing the ball off. When you have that issue, it always rears its ugly head in close games. When Miami's a division game, you kind of say, well, listen, division games can go either way. That happens. We've seen undefeated teams lose to losing teams in the division, right? But when it comes down to the other games, right, we've seen them lose, it comes down to, we always talk about it at some point during the game, Keon Coleman in street clothes on the sideline because of disciplinary issues. This isn't an injury problem. This is a discipline problem. It's a time for him to mature. And we see it in other places. Some guys work through it. We saw it in Dallas, right, with the Raider game. Both their starting wide receivers missed curfew. They sat out a series, came in and lit it up, right? So you don't want to see your star receiver sitting out multiple games because of disciplinary issues. That is something that they have to address. They have to get that under control so he can come back and contribute for this offense.
Well, I mean, when you're in Vegas, what are you going to do? You can't get mad at CeeDee Lamb for being out in the streets of Vegas.
Well, it was both of them. That was what made it even worse. It's both
George
of them.
Pickens for sure. We knew he'd be out there.
One, but
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're best friends. They had to be out there together. Like, you could see it. But yeah, I think the
got
Keon
out the
Coleman.
house too.
There you go.
When in Vegas, I feel like everybody gets in trouble when they're out there. It's just like when they go to Atlanta, right? It's like the two hot spots of the league. I think, do we know Keon Coleman is listed to play today?
I'll tell you right now. Are they the early window?
I believe so.
The early window inactives have been released, so I will tell you.
All I saw was that Fanatics has taken Keon Coleman's jersey off the website.
No. They're a late window. They haven't listed him as an inactive.
All right,
So,
we'll never know.
we won't know until later on.
All right, well, what are your thoughts, Joe? What do you think the Bills are struggling with?
I mean, Jeff just said it. It's literally been Josh Allen versus an entire football team. No outside threats at all when it comes to throwing the ball. Their tight ends have kind of been non-existent. I mean, James Cook has been a beast, especially a guy who owns him in 2 fantasy leagues. Thank you, James Cook, for your season you've had this year. But besides the two of them, it's been a lot of nothing. And then their defense is just ravaged by injuries. I just think they're kind of almost in the same boat as the Colts. Started off really, really hot, stacking up wins, staying high in the standings. And now as the losses start to pile up, you're kind of coming back down to the rest of the pack. And instead of cruising to the playoffs, now it end up being a fight to get into the playoffs. So I think for them, Keon Coleman would be a great help. Any kind of outside threat would be a great help to Buffalo to kind of make defenses not be able to key in on James Cook and Josh Allen. Not to mention, I know it's part of the game, obviously, we all know that, but you've been watching Buffalo Bills games the last couple of weeks. Every game is some kind of nick or bang on Josh Allen, whether it's a hand, a knee, an ankle. That kind of stuff adds up, and you don't wish any serious injuries on anybody. But again, I want my quarterback as healthy as possible going into the playoffs, not nicked up and banged up because some knucklehead can't get his stuff together off the field and help us on the field. So if I'm Buffalo, we got to get some kind of outside help on the throwing passings, so defense can't just key on our MVP.
Yeah, I think this is like the reoccurring topic of Buffalo is like, why is it just Josh Allen or bust? There's literally no one else that you could turn to. Cowboys go out there, get George Pickens. You already had CeeDee Lamb top 5. Like, why didn't Buffalo make any moves before the trade deadline? Because sure, having Keon Coleman is a huge assist, but like, why is it only one guy? Why aren't we relying on more than one player? And you got Dalton Kincaid, who's banged up week in and week out, because it's like there's only 2 of them. There's Josh and Dalton, and that's just who you're looking at every single game. So coming off for the Steelers, their defense turning the corner. I feel like this whole show has been defenses making an appearance and how they've turned things around for their teams. So let's start with that. What's going right for Pittsburgh right now, Jeff?
You said it, the defense, right? We talked about it. It got quality play out of the backup quarterback in Mason Rudolph, but it's been this defense. The defense has made plays. Now, last week, we were talking about what happened last week with the loss. that stretch. At the end of the day, you just didn't have enough firepower to keep up. But your defense has kept you afloat most of this year while your offense is treaded along. Other than the opening game where it was the offense that looked like something that you haven't seen in Pittsburgh in a long time. You haven't seen since then, right, was against the Jets that opening day where it was a shootout between the two. Neither one of those offenses looked the same since then, right? The Jets haven't, and sure enough, Pittsburgh's offense doesn't look like that. However, TJ Watt, healthy, is unstoppable right now. He's still playing at peak performance. So when you have that along with the guys that you have in front, the ageless Cam Hayward on the inside, right? Joey Porter Jr. coming into form on the outside, less penalties, more plays. So you're starting to get the play from the back end of the defense in that front that you expect out of a Pittsburgh Steelers defense. However, your offense is still Jekyll and Hyde. So right there, you have to work on that. One side of it is getting the offense right. People believe getting a healthy Aaron Rodgers is that. To me, getting a healthy and consistent running game is that, because that's going to help your 40-plus-year-old quarterback more than just your defense, is having a running game so he doesn't have to throw it 40 times a game. I think that is the elixir for the Steelers overall to make the playoff push that they need to make. Your defense is fine. Go out there and fix that offense. Get that running game going. Make it a true threat where teams have to stop, where Aaron doesn't have to go out there and do all of this crazy stuff he's done in the past. That is not that Aaron Rodgers anymore. Just like at 40-something, Brett Favre. All right? Yeah, Father Time is undefeated. He can play till 45. That's great. He ain't going to be the same Aaron Rodgers he was at 30. It just is not. It doesn't work that way. So you have to support him. The running game is the best thing. And then everybody goes, why do you keep going back to the running game? Because it's what keeps teams from blitzing your quarterback unmercifully, all right, making him take a pounding. When teams know that you can run the ball at them, it allows you to dictate how you run your offense. When you are a one-dimensional passing team, teams can do a lot more damage to you than you realize. And that's one of the things that fans have to understand. Running games are essential. They're not optional.
So
like that T-shirt.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's just the Jeff dropping dimes once again. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are for Aaron Rodgers this season with the Steelers. Although he's been injured, I just want to hear overall. What do you think, Joe?
I mean, you know me, I love a good 10-point scale. I'd give him like a 6 out of 10 so far. I mean, I wasn't expecting 4,000 yards and 35 touchdowns because, like Jeff said, Father Time will let you get on the field, but Father Time's not going to let you be at your 22-year-old peak athletic self the whole time either. So I think he's done enough. I think, again, like I talked about with Daniel Jones, I think even him, I get it. You're the quarterback, leader of the team. You got you have a hurt wrist, and you got to show the guys that I'm willing to fight through injuries and play through injuries and show leadership. I get it. Definitely the opposite of the end of the Green Bay Packers era or the Aaron Rodgers we saw at the Jets. I think he's been a totally different person with Pittsburgh. Maybe it's that Mike Tomlin voodoo. But I think that with them, you've got to get Warren involved. Like Jeff said, the running game. Because I will say this much. If you can get Aaron Rodgers to drop back 20, 25 times, he'll still give you 10 or 15 wild plays. He can still put the ball on the rope when needed. He can still do the back shorter fade. But the days of the 35, 40 pass attempts per game are over. And if he is doing that, there's going to be a lot more interceptions and a lot more bad plays than they're going to be good ones. So I think for Pittsburgh, fixing your running game, and that's what you're known for, tough defense and a hard-nosed running game. If you can even get that defense or the running game to be above average, that'll be an improvement, because you can't expect AR to just go back there 35 times, throw the ball over the yard, and just rip teams apart. Those days are far from gone.
Yeah, and I think in a Bills team that we've seen the defense struggle in many ways, I think that could be an advantage for them in this matchup. I guess my overall question is just, what team looks better right now in your guys' opinion at this point of the season? I'll start with Joe.
I would say Pittsburgh, just because you do have the outside threat and DK Metcalf. You have a pretty decent tight end. Your running game is not as good as Buffalo's running game at all. Pittsburgh would kill to have a James Cook or even that level of running game. But I think when I look at the defense and look at some of the play from the wide receiver tight end group, I'd give a slight edge to Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right. What about you, Jeff?
To me, it's still Buffalo. And the reason being, we're going into December, the coldest time of the year. Most of these places you're going to be playing in are going to have cold weather. As we saw in college football yesterday, a lot of places had snow coming down. So if there's a team I'm going to trust in cold and snowy weather, it's going to be Buffalo. They can still run the football. They can still throw in the quick game. They have a quarterback who can improvise and do a lot of things in the snow. So while you may see a lot of this going on in Pittsburgh at games, you may not see a lot of that going on the field, right? In those kind of situations. They struggle to run the football consistently. They have to rely on a 40-plus-year-old quarterback who is a shell of himself to do a lot of things that he can't do anymore. When he's extending plays, he's not extending to run around and do the old era. He's extending to throw the ball somewhere, and sometimes that goes to the wrong person. Yes. So that is the thing that you look at with Josh Allen. He's extending plays. You have to worry about Josh Allen running for 50 on you. So there is a difference between those two things. In slippery, snowy weather, I'm going to trust Josh Allen over Aaron Rodgers right now. And it's not because of any kind of personal – I don't know Aaron Rodgers to have a grudge against him. But it's just the fact of the matter is when you look at the style of play and look at the capabilities of these two quarterbacks, one is an older shell of himself. One is still in his prime as far as quarterback play is concerned. You're going to have a guy out there who may not have that deep threat until he gets his mind right. But you know what? He has a heck of a running game traveling with him, and he still has threats on the outside that if you make a defender fall in man coverage, he finds him. He's gone. So there's still more to play in Buffalo. I love the defense in Pittsburgh, but the offense, until they can get that running game consistent and a positive threat on a week-to-week basis as you go into the colder months of the year, give me Buffalo right now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to roll with you, Jeff, on this one. I think if you got the guy that can score 6 times by himself, multiple times in his career, you know he's going to figure out how to get a W. Obviously, you don't want it to just be 1-6-1 player the entire game, but it just feels like that gives the Bills some type of energy to carry on and win. And they're behind New England. Like, they're really fighting for every single victory. So today, I know that's hot.
They're just playing great football.
Yeah. Drake May's picture is on Josh Allen's locker easily. He's like, this was my league. Where'd you come from?
I wouldn't put him in Canton yet, but he's playing very well within the system. You talk about guys driving the bus. He's driving the bus right now, right? He's got a heck of a running game, right? Travion Henderson was one of my favorite guys on my board. And trust me, he is living up to the hype. You know, I love J.K. Dobbins coming out of Ohio State. Injuries kind of robbed him of this kind of performance. But Travion Henderson has really uplifted that running game. Yes, they got Stevenson. He's making you forget about Stevenson the way he's running the football, right? So what he's done for New England right now is really taking their offense in return, because he's big in the return game as well, right? He's taking that team to a whole nother level with his performance, is allowing Drake May to be free. Amazing what a running game does for a young quarterback, right? It allows him to play free. We keep talking about running games and you can just buy a running back. You can't do that, folks. You can draft a really good one and pay a solid veteran. Look what it does to your team. Look at the New England Patriots, right? Vrabel knows all about having a running game.
For sure.
The Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Well, that's a sign right there, right? You go out there, you sign the right guy, right?
The offensive line and the running game.
Even Ashmere's boy. Look at Bryce Young. Yes. Carolina got a decent running back. All of a sudden, they're still in the playoff hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Is Bryce Young my guy? Hell yeah.
You're a member of the fan club. You have a t-shirt.
I'm always rooting for rookie QBs, but he's no longer rookie, and I know that. All right.
And they got a bargain.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to do like a season recap next week after we see who wins, New England or Buffalo. Then we could talk about what's really happening. We're going to do our rapid fire picks. Here's our results from last week. Or in general. I'm still wrong.
We're trying to help you guess picks out here.
Yeah, it's all on you, Jeff.
My march to 500. I'm going to get back to 500.
You turned it around late in the season last year.
Maybe that's my MO. Use my heart to make all my picks first half of the season, and I use my football brain second half, and I squeak into the wild card.
It's, you know what it is? I actually don't know what it is. I was going to say, I feel like I'm picking the crazy picks. Like last week I picked Arizona. They lost. Well, you know, I just try.
Joe, channel your inner Sonny Jurgensen. You can do it.
Oh, there you go. Great. One of the greats.
All right. One of the games we talked about, Houston and Indy.
I'll let the guest go first and probably piggyback off of him.
You got it. Well, I'm going to go with Houston. And the reason being is we talked about Daniel Jones. If he is that injured, I believe this pass rush will get to him. You're going to see an Anthony Richardson sighting. Does he come in and have that offense humming the same way? I don't think so. I think they have their peaks and their valleys. They'll make a couple of mistakes in that game throwing the football. So give me Houston in that one.
I mean, the Colts at some point got to win one of these big games. But even with that being said, the Houston Texans defense is just too good. I'm going to go Houston.
I'm only lone wolfing on the Colts because, like Joe said, this is a game they got to prove that they really belong in the top of the AFC. So I think that this is the one they take advantage of CJ Stroud, who can make some mistakes. And Daniel Jones just really prays to the football gods he makes it through one more week. All right. Rams and the Carolina Panthers. Is that who it is?
Yep.
All right. Well, we already know this one. Next. Niners and Browns. We're all picking the Rams, right? Like, what do we do?
Yes, yeah. I'm picking the Rams, and that's when I'm taking. Listen, Carolina's going to give them a fight. That's not going to be an easy chore, but I think so. When you talk about power, the Rams right now with what they're playing with, even with Nakua having his little dings on him, right now you got a quarterback playing lights out. They're running the football well. That defense is still hunting, all right, and getting better. So right now, give me the Rams.
Yeah, for sure. Best team in football, I think. If not, then who?
Playing back-to-back NFC West teams feels like really mean of the NFL to do. So, you know,
I feel like Carolina's still a year away. I mean, I didn't expect these many wins they had this season. They're definitely missing some pieces, but I think it's a fun season for them this year. But I think they're outclassed by the Rams.
Well, once again, another one of the guys I liked in the draft is showing out. Ted McMillan's having a great year. He's going to big things in store for him in Carolina.
All right, next we've got Niners and Browns. I'm going to go last.
All right, give me once again San Francisco. I think they play well in Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to give them some fight defensively, but I think they once again throw on schedule. You're going to trust Trent Williams versus Myles Garrett. He's going to be able to match up with him one-on-one. They're going to hide Garrett and put him on the opposite side, I think. But overall, I think they'll have a plan for Myles Garrett. They'll have a plan to get the ball out, and then a heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey will help alleviate a lot of the ills for San Francisco.
With my bad record, I have no time for risk-taking. But I'm going to go Shedeur. I don't have a road. I got an Apple Watch. Give me the Browns.
I like
think the defense, the nasty weather. If he could make a play or two, if Nick Bosa and Fred Warner were playing, I'd say not a chance. Even if it was a blizzard outside. But give me Shedeur Sanders.
I like it. Honestly, I like it. I'm gonna pick Niners, but only because they got CMC on the other side, and that's really the only answer. All right, New Orleans versus Miami. Ooh, ugly.
Well,
new matchup.
I'll tell you what, give me the Dolphins because ever since they fired their GM, this head coach is coaching for his job, and he seems to be making some headway. This team has gotten better since then. Give me the Miami Dolphins in this one.
Shame on me for not even knowing. They're not eliminated from the playoffs yet, Miami, right? Super long shot, but I mean.
Mathematically not, but you know, it's on the fishing rod with them saying you almost had it. Yeah, they're there.
The Saints suck, so yeah. Worst team in football. I think worse than the Jets.
We're all Miami here. All right. Next up, we've got another boo-boo bowl, Atlanta and the Jets.
Atlanta with Kirk Cousins, the highest paid backup in the league versus the New York Jets. Well, you know. Listen, and I believe Tyrod is starting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, give me Atlanta.
Is Drake London playing?
Even if he isn't, They're still better.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, that would be on our early window inactives, and Drake London is inactive.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, we're all Atlanta. Love that. Next up, we've got Arizona versus Tampa Bay. Ooh.
Very intriguing matchup here. Arizona, who's been playing well with Jacoby Brissett, but give me the Bucs. They need to hold on to the South with the charging Panthers. This is a good game to get things turned around.
If there's one thing the Cardinals know how to do, it's keep a game interesting, and so do the Bucs. So I feel like this game is kind of hard to pick. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, man. I'm looking at the rest of the matchups. Yeah, I'll make this be the one I do my lone wolf. Give me the Cardinals.
You pick? Okay.
Yeah. Because Baker Mayfield dinged up. Is he a hit or two away from being out of that game? And then Jacoby Brissett, I feel like he's been in the NFL for 30 years, but the guy's still like 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 400 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 40 yards. Just give me, I'll go Arizona.
Yeah, I feel like now they've got those 2 wide receivers working together. Marvin Harrison Jr. is back. So I like the Arizona pick, but I'm going to pick Tampa just because they need to dominate this. Like every game matters for that division. Okay.
Just think that Jacoby Brissett was just a few short picks ahead of Rain Dakota Prescott.
That's wild.
Jacksonville versus Tennessee.
Duval.
Really?
Yes. Give me. It's a division game, so they can be iffy. The records, you throw them out the window sometimes when it comes to division games. Give me Jacksonville as well. They're playing very good right now. I don't think that Tennessee is going to let them out the gate that easy, but for the most part, I think the Jaguars pull it out.
Yeah.
All right, I copied you guys just because you're probably right. All right, Vikings versus Seahawks.
Whew. There's an education to be had in this one here. Now, that Seattle defense is playing lights out. J.J. McCarthy is going to see a lot today of the very, very fierce front, right, as well as a nice back end. And I don't mean in the stands. I'm talking about that secondary of the Seahawks. Right now, that's going to mean Seahawks for me.
Yeah, I pick Seattle. I mean, no J.J. McCarthy. He's not even playing. They're starting an undrafted rookie for the Minnesota Vikings. So for you to go against Mike McDonald, who got his teeth in Baltimore as a defensive coordinator, and you're playing in Seattle, probably the loudest stadium in the NFL, this could get super ugly.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you, Seattle, all the way. The NFC West is the team, the league of the season. All right. We've got Buffalo versus Pittsburgh. Ooh, I'm excited to hear what you guys pick.
So I said it pretty much earlier. I trust Josh Allen right now more than I trust Aaron Rodgers. Give me Josh Allen and the Bills to get right today. This is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got the team that's going to make this a very good game to watch.
Yes.
However, I think when you look at it, there's a guy who's a more recent MVP in the New York uniform that in his Buffalo, New York, not New York. But we're talking about Josh Allen. He's playing well still. He's got some. Once again, you've got issues with guys on the outside, but I think he gets it done with that running game, his ability to extend plays. And yes, Dalton Kincaid to be hurt, but Dawson Knox is not a knock at tight end. Those 2 tight ends together are formidable. Individually, they're a lot easier to contain. But I think he makes enough plays running around with him. Like I said, Shakir's still out there. He still has Gabe Davis with some speed. So if he gets out of the pocket and throws up a deep ball, don't be surprised if Gabe Davis catches one of them. But overall, I think give me Buffalo because of the ability with Cook and Allen to work off of each other and find some things out in the field. I think those 2 guys are going to give you enough plays to beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think we're unanimous on this one. Give me Buffalo. As much as I love Aaron Rodgers, I'm being realistic.
There you go.
That's another guy that could get – and I'm not wishing injuries on these guys. I just know how football works. This is another one of those guys that might get hit, try to brace himself, forget about the injury he had, not remember, and make it worse. So give me Buffalo.
Next, we have the Raiders and the Chargers. Yikes.
Quick answer, Fighting Harbaughs.
Yeah, like don't even. I'm not even going to listen to what you guys have to say because I'm not picking the Raiders like at all. I've given up.
Give me the Chargers. I thought maybe the release of Chip Kelly could give some fire to the Raiders, but no.
Poor Gino.
Chip's probably counting his money, drinking a Mai Tai right now. Somewhere warm.
Too many failed offenses. All right, Denver and the Commanders.
Broncos by 1,000.
And that's a Commanders fan saying
Just
that.
being honest, man.
Give me Denver. Right now, Washington is being held together by duct tape. So
Literally.
Old Bay seasoning. Duct tape and prayers.
give me Denver.
It's tough. It's tough out there, Joe. I feel you. All right, we got the
good.
Giants and the Patriots.
Oh yeah, this is a couple of Super Bowls revenge for the Patriots coming up today. So give me the Pats to get a little Super Bowl revenge. They won't get it in the Super Bowl, but they'll get a little revenge for those Super Bowl teams today.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll go Patriots. As much as I like Jackson Dart, what he can bring to the table, he needs more than just himself to beat that team.
Is the Thursday night game Dallas and Detroit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Jeff, please do the honors.
Well, if there's one team that Dallas really wants to get back at, not named the Philadelphia Eagles, is Detroit. If you remember the beating that Detroit put on them, and it really embarrassed them last year, Dallas would love to get some comeuppance on that and to take away their playoff seeding in the process. So give me Dallas in that one. Although it's in Detroit,
Yes.
I'm going to take the Cowboys to go into Detroit. The way they're playing defensively, the beat up offense that the Lions have right now, they're going to rely on a lot of gimmicks versus Dallas, what they're susceptible to. But right now, you're seeing a beat up St. Brown. That offensive line has to bring back Frank Ragnow. They're struggling.
He failed his physical. Can't even play, Jeff. He failed his physical.
Yeah, well, he's been sitting on a couch. I didn't think that he was going to pass it right away. So, yeah, it's going to be that interior of that defensive line. You talk about those three defensive tackles: Quentin Williams, Odigizua, Kenny Clark are wreaking havoc right now in running games. Gibbs is a tough stop along with Singletary, but guess what? They're going to be a lot better this time around versus the run from what we saw. Plus a beat up St. Brown. Give me Dallas.
Yeah, as much as it pains me, again, football brain, I'll go Cowboys.
I'm going to pick Detroit because they're coming off of a division loss, and I don't think they'll lose 2 in a row. Otherwise, are we even considering the Lions to be true contenders? All right.
They almost lost to the Giants. So.
Yeah, the Lions.
With Jameis. With Jameis. Not even with Dart, with Jameis. Okay, so yeah, they're very susceptible to loss right now.
That was a very fun game too.
Jameis Winston is always gonna pull through. Okay, if there's a way to make a game exciting, you could call Jameis Winston.
But Jameis ain't Dak.
No, for sure. That's the truth. That's the truth right there. All right, there are our rapid fire picks. This was fun. Thank you, Jeff, for hanging out. I hope you had a great time. Thanks.
Always. I love talking ball with y'all. You know, gets the chance to come back and be a media guy for a couple hours before I go back to chasing talent again. You know?
As you should. The big brain.
Hey, well,
they can use it for science when I'm gone.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all the things for Team NBS Media. We've got 20 minutes till kickoff. So thanks for watching and talking ball with us. Have a great Sunday, and we will see you next week.